I've known this next guy longer than any other comic I've ever worked with. We're friends, kinda. So far. We've worked at telemarketing companies round and round. Mr. Charley McMullen.
Hip to be square, fuck you. That's the wrong foot that I'm starting on. I'm gonna do the best I can tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I've not been getting a lot of sleep lately. I have an existentialist owl in my attic. Kept me up all night going, why? Usually when I can't sleep, I watch cable. Last night I watched The Sixth Sense. Or did I? Speaking of movies, Roger Ebert died a couple days ago, and I found his death to be trite, cliched, and nowhere near as masterfully understated as Gene Siskel's. I know that might be too soon, but he was the devil. We did not lose a Nobel Prize winner, ladies and gentlemen. Ah, boy, I left my notes over there and it's dark, so I'm just gonna go with whatever comes to my head. Mention was made of who here is married. I am married, and sometimes you don't really respect your single friends anymore after you get married, do you? I sure don't. You know, like my single friends will tell me about role-playing, and I'm just like, okay, so you're having so much sex that you need to add stuff to keep it interesting. That's terrific. Married people don't do any of that shit. Role-playing. Here's role-playing for married people is like, okay, what if I played the guy that's gonna have sex for the first time in 3 fucking months? That would be so hot. Is that your fantasy? 'Cause it's mine. That's a myth about guys. A lot of these macho bullshit alpha male types will tell you, guys, I gotta fuck all the time. I gotta have sex every day. I'll fuck anything that moves. That's bullshit. No, that's bullshit. You can keep up the charade as long as you want, sir, but I'm about to bust it wide open. When you're married, and when you get into your 30s for a guy, sex with your wife and masturbation is like 60-40. And it's not that we're not attracted to our wives, it's just when you do one so much more than the other, you get really good at it. It's very true. You know, like, and if you're like me, you really love cartoons, and let's say hypothetically in the next election, marijuana became legal, you have some awesome fucking fantasies. This is what I fantasize about now, cartoon women. Walking down the street and I look over and, well, it's Betty Rubble's house. You know, the window's just a hole in the wall. I can go in and take a peek, and she's talking with Wilma, and Wilma's upset about something. Got her head on her shoulder. Just cry it out, I'm here for you. And she catches a whiff of Betty's perfume. They lock eyes. Yeah. And they start making out, but then there's a knock at the door. What's that? Your name is Josie, and your band is on tour, and your van broke down, you need to use the phone? Sure, come on in. So now they're in there too. That's right. Time rift opens up in the sky. Who's that? It's Jane Jetson, that's right. That's who that is. Maybe Jem in the holograms, and if you know who that is, then like me, you didn't have friends when you were young. It's okay. And you know what? Maybe Bugs Bunny in drag. You're not the boss of me. It's my fantasy, I'll do what I want. He could fill out a pink sweater. You know, this whole time Smurfette's just hanging from my balls. It's great, and they're inviting me to come over to the couch and join them. And I say, I'll be right with you, ladies. Right now, I'm titty fucking Jessica Rabbit. That's right. Then I look up at the clock and 2 hours have gone by. Not even jerking off anymore, I'm just still going. Long story short, that's what marriage is like. Sort of went around the block telling you that, but that's my whole point. Speaking of marriage, this crowd that we have in here tonight, by and large, are you for gay marriage? I am too. I agree with you. I think it's great. But I'm kind of torn when it comes to gay marriage. One guy in the back. That's not the joke, but sometimes that gets a laugh. Torn when it comes to gay marriage. He's talking about his anus. On this hand, I think that, I don't think that marriage should be denied anyone. I think it's a basic human right to form a union with someone you love. But on the other hand, I don't like how they're demanding the right. Because I don't know if we have any gay people in here or not, but straight people look for any fucking excuse not to get married. And if we had one as ironclad as it's illegal, I don't think we'd just be tossing it aside like that. That is gold. I can't believe you guys are willing to give up that excuse. I wish I had that when I got married. I would have loved to have said to my wife, listen, honey, of course I want to get married. Your brother that calls me joke bitch and broke my wrist when he was showing me a wrestling move, I would love nothing more than for him to be part of my family. But it is illegal. Please, what sort of example would we be setting for the children? It's an ironclad excuse. You guys are just throwing it away. If you are not for gay marriage, then I have some good news for you. It may not be completely born of hate. If it is, if you're homophobic, then I can't help you. Nothing can. Just, there's probably some pills in your medicine cabinet that can help you. But in some cases, it is not completely born of hate. It just means you haven't had that moment. And the moment I'm talking about is the moment that every straight person has that makes you empathize with the gay community in a way that you never thought you would. And it's different for everybody. Sometimes it's, some redneck homophobe guy who is at a Bon Jovi concert and he sees just the right guy that fills out a pair of acid wash in just the right way. For women, not all women, but fuck it, for all women. College, it's okay. It happens. Bible camp for some of you, it's all right. That moment happened for me about 12 years ago. Interestingly enough, I was living in the South, and oddly enough, it happened when I was taking a shit in a Missouri bathroom. Let me tell you what happened. I used to live in Nashville when I was going to college, and sometimes I would come back here. I couldn't always afford to fly. Back then, gasoline was not more valuable per ounce than silver, so a lot of times I would drive. And I was driving a white cargo van at the time, and I'm driving a different white cargo van now. This is not part of the story, but I'm just going to tell you, if you know someone who drives a white cargo van, stop saying this to them. You should put free candy on the side of your van. We've heard it a million times. We're tired of it. Free candy. Like I'm made of money. I digress. I was driving from Nashville to Pueblo, Colorado, and right out of the gate, I drove straight until I got to Missouri. That is almost 18 hours. And let me tell you what I was eating on my drive. Jalapeno-flavored Snyder's pretzel pieces and a fuckload of Red Bull. I don't know if you've only had that for 18 hours, but let me tell you what happens, okay? I had Satan's burbling cauldron of shit in my stomach. It was bad. Like, you know how dogs can sense hurricanes before they happen? If there was a dog with me in the van who had been barking at my stomach, like the same way he would have barked at the Omen, because evil was happening inside my guts. It was not good. Like the clouds formed a funnel. It was like, birds just falling out of the sky. That's how evil it was. So as soon as I crossed the Missouri state line, I knew I had to find a bathroom. And I stopped at the first gas station I found, ran into the bathroom, sat down, and I knew this was going to be an ordeal. As I'm sitting there, I'm already coming up with what I'm going to have to say to the manager of this gas station to explain the state of disarray that his bathroom is in. I'm wondering if I'm going to have to, break a mirror and tear off the sink, make it look like some sort of accident happened, to explain why his bathroom is carpeted in shit. And as I'm having these thoughts, it happens. And I'm not usually this guy, but I could not stop myself from taking a peek to see what had come out of me. And I'm going to tell you what I saw. Obviously it was shit, but it was the size and shape of my dick. To clarify, it was the size and shape of how I imagined my dick to be. Now, this feeling that I had, yeah, it was pain, but you know what else? It was pride. It was reassurance to a certain degree. It was accomplishment. And I felt way better. Now, granted, I don't know if it's the same thing because it was coming out, it was not going in. So I'm not going to claim to be an expert on the subject. But this feeling I had, I imagine, is this the feeling that gay people have? This wonderful feeling that I now have? This is what they have to hide from society? What they have to stress out about? Sometimes kill themselves over telling their parents about? And they can't get married? Bullshit. The next election, I want you guys to think about this when you're in that voting booth. This feeling that you're having now, enduring my little story. Vote with your heart, is what I'm saying. Speaking of the gay community, a while back, Garrett, your MC tonight, he and I had done a show at the downtown bar. It was a good show. We were outside afterwards. We were talking about it. And the downtown bar right next to a place called the Pirates Cove, which rejected my slogan idea, by the way. Come here to plunder booty. I guess some people take themselves far too seriously for their own good. But as we were outside, this guy stumbles out. And two things right away I could tell. He was gay, but he was a politically gay guy. He's the kind of gay guy who still thinks he's like up in everyone's face, like shaking up the establishment by being gay. Like everything he said to us, he'd say, I'm sorry if that makes you uncomfortable. You know, like he said, you guys would make a good threesome. Sorry if that makes you uncomfortable. Which is true, by the way, because I don't know if you know this about gay people, but there's a subset of the gay community that enjoys bears. Did you know that? I am highly prized among the bear community. And I, for one, am very, very grateful for that, because I'm not gay, but sometimes I'm thirsty. I could go to a bar and have drinks bought for me for a change. Ladies, I used to not like this, but you have got a great fucking thing happening. Keep it up. It's wonderful. Drinks are expensive. And if I have to bat my eyes a couple times, so be it. It's the world we live in. But he kept saying that to me and Garrett after everything he said. Sorry if that makes you uncomfortable. And eventually I look over at Garrett. He's got the same look as me. Sir, we are comedians. We get up under lights in front of strangers and talk about taking a shit and talking about our balls and everything. You're not making us uncomfortable. We're fine with it. And if you're like me, it's 2013. You are so not homophobic that it's just a norm now. You're not shaking up the establishment at all. But for the brief time that we spent talking to this guy, I got really into his life story. He said that he was going to try to get his old job back because he thought he was fired for being gay. And at this point I thought, what if I ask a question that I will regret right away? What was your old job? And he said that he was a professional offshore fisherman. And I said, why do you think you were fired? Because you're gay. He said, well, they told me that, you know, if we're out on a boat for months at a time, I'm going to freak out and fuck somebody. It's what he said. And have you ever seen The Deadliest Catch? Professional offshore fishermen deal with some shit, okay? They're on a boat away from their family, away from their loved ones. They're getting thrown all over the ocean, sub-zero temperatures. Their friends are dying in 3s and 5s, just falling over the side out of nowhere. If you can maintain an erection through that, you should get to fuck somebody. Right? And I told this guy, I said, you know what? I'm not even gay, but if I was on that boat with you, come here. You deserve this, sir. I will be the bottom for you. That's how much I think you deserve it. In fact, I'll be a power bottom. I will generate all the movement. You don't have to do anything because you've been through enough. I will be the power bottom. I will generate all the work that needs to be done, and I will turn around and go ass to mouth with you. That's right. Ass to mouth for as long as it takes, ladies. I will go ass to mouth with you and let you finish on my face in a glorious display worthy of Jackson Pollock himself, because you, sir, are an American hero, and I'm sorry if that makes you uncomfortable. And it did. Looked at us one more time, said, oh, you guys are gay, and went back inside. You guys have been terrific. Give yourselves a round of applause for coming out and seeing some live comedy. It's been a challenge getting people to come to these shows, so I thank everyone who came out tonight. You're going to see some more comics tonight. I'm going to depart with a quick word about heckling. We haven't had any yet. I think that's good. I think we should keep that up. I'm going to tell you what it's like from this point of view, from up here. If you get a heckler, you have to make a split-second decision. Do I pretend it didn't happen, or do I say something back? If you pretend it didn't happen, you can move on with the show, but the audience might not respect you. But if you say something back, you have to make sure that your level of aggression does not exceed that of the heckler, otherwise the crowd, again, will not be on your side. It'll be awkward for everybody. Something happened to me recently that I'd like to tell you about. I was doing a show at a place in Old Colorado City called Thunder and Buttons. Love this place. It's my favorite place to do stand-up because the audience comes overserved and then more shit is added on and it makes for some awesome shows. So I was halfway through my set and this guy in the back goes, "Hey, you suck!" So I was very calm, I was collected, I decided to say something back, but I was careful not to be too mean. So I said, "Well, sir, your wife lost the baby and didn't tell you, and you didn't even know she was pregnant, and you were praying to God she wasn't because you were planning on leaving her for an underage boy you met in a NAMBLA chat room, which you only logged on to in the first place because your stepdad used to butt-fuck you on a rowboat every summer at the cabin, which your parents only took you to in the first place because they couldn't afford a real vacation." And the crowd parted. He walks right up to me, he's standing right here, looks me right in the eyes, and he says, "How did you know about the cabin?" My name is Charley McMullen. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you very much.